me say this simply and clearly. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing. You know how we talk about it. Are we the people, folks?
Hello and welcome back to the Ask Johnny channel. Well, we found that the just one program on the Egyptian Serapeum was just not enough. So here's part 2, and you got to ask yourselves what the hell was going on back then in the bloody ancient Egyptian past. G'day, Johnny. We're back for another episode on the Serapeum. Yeah, Johnny, welcome back. Welcome back for part 2, yeah. Johnny, when did they find this bloody Serapeum? Yeah, when did they discover it? Well, it was discovered, Johnny, way back in the golden age of archaeology, yeah, the 1850s. Johnny, it's bloody widely regarded that this bloody temple there was some sort of a temple dedicated to bulls. Bulls? That sounds like bullshit, Johnny.
The Serapeum is a series of subterranean tunnels, corridors and chambers which are of an impressive scale on their own. But then there are these 24 giant granite boxes, or sarcophagi as they label them, lowered into their own individual notches or chambers, each weighing between approximately 80 and 100 tons including the lid, with an estimated ratio for a 100-ton box, for example, being around 70 tons for the body and around 30 tons for the lid. The quality of the craftsmanship and the mass of these boxes is just phenomenal.
Yeah, bulls! Yeah, big bulls!
Apis bulls were incredibly sacred creatures to many ancient Egyptians, and worship of these animals was one of the first cults in Egyptian history. The bulls were associated with the pharaohs and also represented determination, strength and virility, and the worship of these bulls was accepted as holy since the first dynasty in Memphis. This would certainly give reason to building these giant tombs for the animals that they worshipped.
I reckon that the whole bloody thing was just a resting place for big old fat bulls. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it was used over the years by a lot of pharaohs, and in the ancient Greeks come along and all sorts of bloody stuff. So who knows what the original intent was for the whole bloody complex.
Of all the things that made these tombs or boxes unusual, one of these is that although mainstream belief suggests the ancient site was used for the entombment of Apis bulls, there are many aspects of the theory that do not add up. For instance, the size of the boxes far exceed the size needed for bulls. While the pharaohs were buried in small coffins with just enough room, why were the boxes made of granite instead of easier to work with limestone?
But Johnny, these bloody great big boxes in there, they got to move the bloody things for a start. How did they move them?
Can you imagine yourself trying to grab a stone block weighing 2 tons with a primitive way? How can you do that? And what kind of primitive tools you may need to help you out to do that task? So they are going to do the same experiment using the same method like the ancient Egyptians.
Jesus, have a look at that!
It seems like this method didn't work out, although they have been using 33 workmen to help them. But they couldn't move the block more than 46 meters, which is like 150 feet, in the whole day. And their target was to move it for a few hundreds of meters, more than 1,000 feet in one day.
How did that go?
Who knows? I have no idea what he was talking about.
I just want to make sure we all know what we're talking about here.
And Johnny, it's widely accepted that the bloody boxes were built and shaped and everything where they sit. But Johnny, there's not enough room to even get fucking men, or enough men around the bloody things in those corridors to move. Yeah, they didn't bring them in from outside all finished. They're liable to bloody hit the walls and fuck them up and do all sorts of things. So they bloody built them in there.
But when it comes to the Serapeum of Saqqara, how do you move a 70-ton granite box through tunnels with only around 1 foot clearance at the side and perhaps 2 to 3 foot clearance to the ceiling, then carefully lowering them into their chambers? It seems an impossible feat. We may be able to come up with some way of moving them with modern technology using engines and hydraulics, for example, which still seems like it would take some really creative engineering with today's modern tech. But these people only had primitive tools from what we know.
Johnny, couldn't they lower these big bloody blocks of stone in before they built the bloody joint? They're fucking caves, Johnny. Oh, Jesus. In there in the fucking dark, apparently. Johnny, there's no air, there's no light, there's no window.
And this is the most important problem. You need to find a solution how to get rid of the carbon dioxide. The biggest problem indeed is the CO2. Because when the workman works, he exhales the CO2. And that CO2 accumulates at the bottom, which is about 15 centimeters per hour. After a few hours, it will be a certain death if the workman couldn't get out immediately. And if there is no other way to get rid of that CO2, it could remain at the place for several weeks.
So, Johnny, we've got these bloody great big underground cave system that they reckon was originally set up to glorify bulls. And, Brian, give me a bloody banana, will you? I'm bloody starving over here. And various pharaohs and ancient Greek kings and all sorts of all sorts of dudes were using it over millennia for different reasons. But Johnny, mainstream science, man. Mainstream science. What do all the scholars from the university say, Johnny? Well, they haven't got much of an answer at all. They just say, well, we need the evidence. But what are you going to do? Wait around for the evidence for another couple of thousand years? Yeah, right, yeah. Or they could open their bloody mind and go down a slightly different path for a change. Well, you got something there, Johnny, yeah. Just because you haven't got any fucking evidence, it doesn't mean something didn't happen. Yeah.
The final stage, which caused the granite to mistakes, and according to the mainstream story, it was done by sand and water and a piece of rock. As a stone carver, I see what. Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that, Jesus.
Brought all the way here through the Sphinx Avenue. And remember, this had to be brought all the way from Aswan. Aswan is 1,000 kilometers. Granite, yeah. Single solid piece, of course. Less than 20.
Jesus Christ!
By looking at the Serapeum boxes and these results, we've got so many questions in our minds that we don't have any answers for them. Did the ancient Egyptians use a very high advanced technology or very advanced machineries and tools to cut and carve these boxes? Do you really think we can get these results using these primitive tools? I don't really think we can get these results. Drawing like a line to the workman, asking him to start carving and not to get any right or left, without any mistakes of the right angle. Of course, by looking at all these tools and instruments that we see at the museums, I don't really think we can do just one box of the one that you can see at the Serapeum. But at the Open Air Museum of Mitrahina in Memphis, we found a box. It could have been carved in a primitive way using these primitive tools, although it's not easy even to do it with these primitive tools. But you can easily tell the difference between the engineering precision of this box and the other ones at the Serapeum.
Who would have who built them there, put them there first? Well, it could have been aliens, Johnny. Aliens? Oh, Johnny, you're not going down the bloody alien track again. That's fucking bloody... Yeah, well, but I don't think it was aliens, Johnny. Yeah, that sounds like bullshit to me. It seems more bloody logical that it was an ancient civilization. Oh, I suppose. It makes sense.
So, was the Serapeum of Saqqara actually constructed further in the past than the mainstream view, using some sort of ancient high technology? And what was the original purpose for these magnificent boxes?
And that's a point of view the Ask Johnny channel's going to keep for quite some time. Yeah. Now get the fuck out of here and go and get me some lunch.